and we do these community check-ins to check in with people who are on our Klira program and who have seen differences and changes in their skin, and we go through the different skin sizes. Tonight I'm chatting with Chloe, and Chloe is incredibly special to me actually, because I met Chloe right at the very beginning of this entire process when we'd originally just really found a Klira. We hadn't been working very, very long. And Chloe had had such trouble with her skin. She had a rosacea. I was just saying that you've really been with us right from a way, way, way back at the beginning, whenever we pretty much had just founded this. And you were having such issues with your skin. Do you mind to share that with everybody who's listening tonight?
No, of course I don't. So yeah, I think it was, I don't think Klira had been going that long when I reached out. And I think at the time I had my graduation coming up as an event that I was quite sort of conscious about. I was suffering really bad with quite thick redness, sort of like pus spots all over it, and it was red raw all the time. The heat coming from the skin was just unbearable, and I'd sort of exhausted all avenues up until that point. The first couple of weeks sort of really changed my skin. It definitely goes through a process. However, the whole routine that I changed just sort of changed my skin for the better, really. I've never had any issues since. Sometimes in the winter months, on like a really cold day, if it's quite windy, I have a little bit of excess sort of flushing, but I've not had any flare-ups. I've had no lumps, bumps, anything like that on my skin. I've actually only got like an SPF on my face now. So it's probably quite hard to see because it's a bit shadowed, but
I mean, your skin is absolutely glorious. You know, whenever I see the photographs of your skin when they come through with your updates, it's just like night and day compared to what it was at the very beginning. Because it was, not only was the skin difficult for you to manage, it was painful for you as well, and was stopping you from doing things. Like you were saying to me, you didn't even know whether you wanted to go to the graduation.
Oh, and it was quite disheartening because you see so many people on Instagram with, you know, all these like flawless skins, and you almost think, why can't it be me? And I had thought that I'd exhausted all options. I used to wake up some days and like the headaches that I used to feel that I was getting, I used to feel quite nauseous and things like that. So I felt like I was in a constant battle with it, obviously until I found Klira. So I've stuck to it. I do find sometimes if I go away and I've used it the night before and I thought I've packed it and I've forgotten it for a couple of days, I do see the difference in my skin. It's almost sort of needing that little extra boost, and it's become part of my everyday life. I wouldn't change it. So.
And at the very beginning, how difficult did you find it before you were able to get into the routine? How much of an adjustment was it for you?
I'd probably say it's one of the smallest adjustments. I feel like I was overcomplicating my routine before. I was almost buying into products because I'd seen certain people use them. However, it wasn't necessarily suitable for my skin. It is an extremely easy routine to follow. It's just, you know, doing it your way. I found that in the beginning, when it was obviously changing my skin, that I, you know, putting like a moisturizer on or a light layer of moisturizer on before putting the Klira on was a little bit better for me. But yeah, it is, there's no complications with it at all. It's every night, and it's sort of, I just keep it next to the bathroom sink now so that it's ready there.
So some of the questions that have just been coming through that we can see is that we're talking about skin sizes, and Chloe is a skin size 10. The other thing that Chloe has as part of her skin size 10 is the tendency to rosacea. And actually, when we first met Chloe and she joined part of Klira, her rosacea was completely out of control. So people who have a skin size 10, you are on that kind of spectrum that, you know, if not looked after properly, you can go into this rosacea that's out of control. But part of the problem actually is it gets confused for being acne, or sometimes even for some people it can be confused for being eczema, and then that confusion means you're using the wrong treatments, and that then, you know, ultimately makes the skin go into this very extreme rosacea state. So I think what some people actually would like to know as well, from you, Chloe, is that, just to start, the Klira special is the nighttime special. So whatever your skin size is, you are given your own bespoke Klira special, and that's the treatment to essentially fix the skin.
Yeah,
But it doesn't work in isolation. You have to do it alongside a really good skincare routine. And by really good skincare, I promise I do not mean
yeah,
expensive. I mean, some of these things are cheap as chips, but they have to complement the treatment that we use at nighttime. So it has to be simple, straightforward, very effective treatments. There's no nonsense alongside this. It's a simple,
yeah.
straightforward, and you can pick what you like. We can help guide you if you particularly like a certain cleanser or a certain SPF. Well, then that's fine. We'll check it and make sure it matches what we want to go alongside the Clearer Special. But if you don't mind, Chloe, do you mind to share what your Skin Size 10 routine is that works with you alongside your Clear Special at
Of
night time?
course, yeah. So I use so to remove makeup and things like that, I've got the Hada Labo, the oil cleanser.
Love.
I sort of, when I invested into Clear, I invested into all the products that were recommended. I thought I'm going to start something new, and as you say, they are not expensive products. So I use that to remove my makeup, and then I go in with a double cleanse. Depending on how much makeup I want, 9 times out of 10, I don't really wear much makeup anymore. It's just an SPF and a tinted moisturizer. So I'll take it all off with a Hada Labo, give it a good wash with water, and then I'll go in with my the Cetaphil Rich Night moisturizing cream, and then I'll apply my clearer on top. And that is it to go to bed in the night. And then in the morning, I go in with a Cetaphil Gentle Cleanser, my SPF, moisturizer, and then I'm good to go. It is as simple as that. And as you say, I think I actually buy all my products on club card prices from Tesco,
Yeah.
other than the makeup remover. And everyone says to me, "Oh, you must spend a fortune," and I'm like, "You'd probably be saving quite a lot of money by." Investing into your skincare that doesn't need to be all these fancy brands and things like that. It's about the ingredients in them, which I started to look for. And as I said, when I joined Clearer, I did just invest into the whole skin routine, and just committed to it.
And what is the SPF that you picked? A few people are wanting to ask that. I
Um,
think they're wanting to ask that because your skin looks amazing. They're like, what's she using?
it's actually is it Altruist? Is that
The
how you say
altruist
it?
one, yeah.
Yeah. I stuck to that. I think before that I was using Meso Aesthetic, which is extremely expensive. And I sort of thought, surely there has to be another SPF that suits me. I think my whole family use the SPF now. It's like putting butter on your skin. It's absolutely gorgeous. It sits well under makeup, and it's also hydrating. I do tend to pick makeups that have an SPF in as well. But that is the SPF that I've stuck to, and I wear it all through the year, every
And
day.
I think that's right. The Ultras SPF. Somebody said, "Love this brand, changed my life." But thank you, Stephanie. The Ultras is truly amazing. It comes in all different formulations. So if you're somebody who wants to have a lighter one, then they have a face fluid. If you want the thick buttery one, then there is the cream, and there's also a spray as well. And there is
Yeah.
one for people who have rosacea or red tint to their skin or bits of pigment on their skin, and it's a pigmented, so it's a colored one. I wouldn't recommend putting the tinted one on as your main SPF, however, because I think it would end up making most people's skin either look too dark if you have white skin or too orange if you have black brown skin. So I think that it's much better to put your normal SPF on first, and then if you want to put the extra bit on top to give the skin a bit
Yeah.
of a glow or cover up, that would be a really nice way to do it. And I suppose, how do you feel now that you're in the routine, in terms of the reliability that you feel about your skin?
So as I said, my skin has been consistent now. I think I went through sort of like the rough phases, and I say rough being, the up and down stages for me, because I was in such a battle with my skin. I wasn't getting anywhere with it, so I was so sort of down about it. It was sort of getting to me a little bit. So now I almost know that I've got something that keeps my skin consistent. I don't feel like I have to turn to any other products to sort of give me that consistency with my skin. It is just the clearer really that has changed everything. The other products I've probably had at some point in the past and thought, oh, you know, they're not really working, but it's because I've not had the products that I've needed alongside it. But as I said, I don't get flare-ups. My skin is extremely consistent now. The texture of it has completely changed. And it's quite nice to go places now and, you know, I've got clients myself and everyone says to me, oh, what do you do to your skin? You know, what do you use on it? What have you got on it today? And as I said, 9 times out of 10, it is just my SPF and a sort of light tint of a moisturizer. And I'd never have had that confidence to do that before. I almost felt like I had to cover it up. People would judge and things, but I don't have any of that now. So I feel like, you know, I have the consistency to embrace it really.
Yeah, I mean, your skin is just lovely. So I hope that we'll be able to put up the before and after
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
of your
that's
skin.
fine. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I never really trust these befores and afters that I see. I'm sure you're the same. You're like, I don't trust. That's why
Yeah.
I much like speaking to the
Yeah.
person. But it's so lovely to be able to see that difference in the transformation that you've had in your skin. Um, well, I super appreciate you coming on and sharing your experience,
That's
Chloe.
fine.
And just to end, I suppose, would you perhaps maybe be able to give, and you might need to think about it, and maybe three top tips on what you would think for somebody who has a skin size 10 and has skin in the way that yours was before you joined Clara? What would be the three kind of tips that you could share to somebody who might have been in your position a couple of years ago?
I think for me it would be to trust what you're seeing. It might be different for other people, but I definitely watched the show, the TV show prior to sort of investing in my clearer. And I sort of looked for the hard evidence. You know, when you see people, as you say, you know, it's really hard to get before and afters. So I always say to people, and I've got clients, like I said, who have reached out and been like, you know, what do you use on your skin? And I always say to them, just be willing to invest in the right people, and trust them with your skin. I think it's quite easy to get sucked into different avenues on social media these days. However, the clearer is there and the evidence is there. You know, we're not like, I'm a real person. I'm not a celebrity or anything like that, but
You are to me.
I yeah, I invested in it and it's the best thing I ever did. So I would definitely say to people to trust what you're buying into, and the results will come. Um, I'd also say that there is light at the end of the tunnel. I think that's a really important one because people do have dark days with their skin. They almost feel like there isn't an answer, and there isn't a cure sometimes. But obviously there is, and you know, I feel like I'm sort of living proof of that. Um, and I'd probably say to not overcomplicate anything. Don't again go down the avenue of feeling the need to you know, have this mega expensive skin routine, and to just stick at it because it that's the important part. As I said, yeah, I go away sometimes and I have my clearer or I'm without it for a few nights and it makes a massive difference to me. I feel like my skin is almost like wanting it. So yeah, it's just having that really. You know, I have loads of Instagram messages after we do these lives, and I'm more than willing. I've kept in contact with a few people who have sort of reached out to Clearer and have started their journey, and I have no issues with that. But yeah, it would be to just trust what you're getting involved with, and there is definitely light at the end of the tunnel. I can vouch for that.
I think that's such lovely, thoughtful pieces of advice as well. And I suppose I just reiterate it, so trust the person that you've entrusted your skin with,
Yeah,
trust the process, understand that there is light at the end of the tunnel. I think that's lovely. So
yeah.
thank you so much.
You're
Um,
absolutely
uh,
welcome.
and Chloe has been incredibly helpful to other people who have reached out to her. So she did very kindly say that she didn't mind people reaching
Yeah,
out
I
to
don't
her.
mind. No, I don't mind. I keep in contact with a couple of them, and I think I've been in contact with one person for just over a year now. So when I done the last live, and it's nice to see their progress. And you know, sometimes I comment, I'm like, "Oh, your skin's looking amazing," and it's the small comments and things like that that you almost feel like you never used to
Yeah.
get, and you never could be in a position to get them. So I think it's a really, really nice place to be in, to have almost like the community of Klira, the support system, and even the Instagram, that there's always a support there. So it's very nice to have that. You don't get that everywhere you go.
I think that's right. And actually, that's why another reason why I call it the community check-in, because it is about that feeling of community. Some of the skin sizes have their little communities where they're sharing their SPF tips
Yes.
or sharing their tips on how to look after their skin when it flares. And that is one of the most wonderful things, because when you do talk about problems with your skin or issues with your skin, and you're talking about it with, people that really need that help or want to get that support, it does also make you feel better yourself. You're like, I'm actually
Yes.
helping somebody else.
Yeah, you don't feel alone in it. And I think that's when, well, probably before I got involved with Klira, is how I felt. I felt like it was just me, that no one else was going through it. Everyone else had this lovely, glorious skin, and I almost felt like I would just have to settle with it. And as I said, I've never looked back, and I think I'm not far off like 2 years being involved with Klira now since it literally started. So I would obviously highly recommend.
Thank you, Chloe. Super appreciate that. And also everybody else who joined, and the skin size 10s, we'll put what the routine and things like that is down below. And Chloe is available for mentorship and support. I did
Yeah,
hear her say
yeah,
that.
that's absolutely fine. My inbox is always open. If it doesn't go through, just send another one, and I'll be sure to pick it up.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're
Thank you everyone for
welcome.
joining, and I'll see you for the next check-in.